Hey, how you guys doing? Michael X. Yeah, so the Object.430 medium tank full review actually took me a really long time, and I did kind of realize something during this, well, playing this tank, is that I do think my connection played a big part in the T62 review and why I was getting pinned in the turret. I do think it was some crazy random RNG, but I'm going to go ahead and say that this really goes head to head with the Object.140. It has a better turret than the 140. It can achieve the same speeds. It has better hull armor, and it can side scrape much better, which means in random battles it's actually very effective as a fighting tank. Now, I don't know if I'd ever use this in a tourney, or in a scrimmage, but let's go ahead and just go down the armor. So 580 horsepower, 16.47 horsepower per ton ratio, does 55 forward, 20 in reverse, 10% chance of engine fire. Reload time is 6.40, aim time 2.3, 0.838 with a 75% trained crew, accuracy 320, max range 16.20 degrees elevation, max gun depression is 5, which is terrible. View range 400. And of course, ammunition fires standard APCR for 264 with 320 alpha, and it does 330 for 320 alpha, and the HE does 50 for 420 possible. Now, looking at the armor of this vehicle, you guys can see huge differences compared to the Object.140 if you guys have seen that video. Just look at the side spacing there. And look at the turret itself, and then look above the turret. I'm going to go ahead and say that you could overmatch this on the PC, and just keep in mind this is on the, I'm using the 9.17 update to show you guys this. I'm going to go ahead and say that the effective armor on console is actually a lot higher than this. It's more like 250, because most of the time APCR off of tier rates can't pin the hull, and will bounce all these areas. But on here you can see This should be a pinnable location, but I'll tell you that I don't get pinned there very often. The tank's very fast, so it's very hard to shoot this thing, and even the hatches are kind of troll. I mean, look at that 246. I mean, you really would have to shoot those in the exact perfect location. Even I can't remember where to shoot them. Seriously, like, it says it's 2 something here, but I'm going to say it's much higher than that. And of course, next to the gun, we got the minimum of 246, but I'm going to go ahead and say that I bounce stuff all the time that are really big. And look at the side scraping. Even at this steep angle, you can actually, if they shoot you there, it will bounce. I will say that if you are actually going against this tank, go for the track pin, because it's very weak where the track is. So if you shoot in the track area, which is the exact opposite of any Russian tank, that's really where it comes into its own, like, I'll say, Achilles, is that it's good for heat there, but it's not so good if they're shooting APCRs. I am going to go ahead and say that tier 9 heavy tanks will melt you real quick with that tier 9 gun, and you do have to be careful, when you're playing in those. All right, so I had a bunch of games to choose from. I'm going to go ahead and say that I was having a very hard time getting my mark of excellence on this, but I managed to go from 52 today all the way to 66 in the matter of, I don't know, 10 games. So this is why I said, when you're playing this game, I think lag has a lot to do with this. Teammates as well. As you guys are going to see here, just a random stranger is actually going to give me a hand in this room, and this is the actual game that I'm going to get. Actually, this isn't the game I get my mark of excellence on, but I do have that one recorded. I did want to go ahead and say statistically, give you guys the stats, and I'll kind of compare them and just kind of tell you guys what I had as far as games played. Okay, Object.140, 110 games, got my mark of excellence, 66.04. Object.430, 137 games, 66.02. And the T62A, 117 games. So statistically, the Object.140, I was actually able to get the mark of excellence much faster than I was with this tank. But I am going to go ahead and tell you guys this last week, the connection for me, I've been playing on East Coast server because it's been that bad. And, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I mean, there are more skilled teams. I mean, people look for overmatches, you know, and, you know, when you got people that know what they're doing a lot, the games can be very one-sided. They can also be super fun. I'm not saying that West Coast has terrible players, but I'm going to say if you ask any East Coast person, they say that, you know, people play bad on the West Coast. And what they mean by that is that people don't work together, people don't look for overmatches. For instance, we have a huge overmatch over here, and I'm well aware of it, but I also don't want to get melted because we haven't really detected all those tank destroyers, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to get waffled any second we're crossing here. Very risky. And you guys can see just a bacon... you know, requesting fire. So, like I said, you know, getting help from another person can make a huge difference in a game. Playing in platoons as well can be very significant. Problem is that some tanks are really bad on certain maps, and when you're stuck with tier 10s, you know, this isn't exactly one of the best maps for this tank, and I really didn't expect to pull out this game here, which I'm going to go ahead and say wasn't my best game. I chose this game because I did a little bit of everything, and I'm gonna tell you guys from my experience, playing this aggressively is your best avenue. And I don't mean like rushing out and YOLOing people. I mean using its armor. As you can see here, I'm hull down. I'm not gonna even dare to go any further than that. I'm not gonna dare it. And even though I'm not pinning this guy's over here, I actually forget that there's a flat spot. And so I'm trying to stay hull down. I know I'm detected. There's no arty, and you can see I'm a little bit overexposed, so I go ahead and fire, hoping that I'll get a magic pin. But that's the guy I really want to get, is that waffle. Once he's gone, these guys stand no chance. That was pretty much the only thing keeping our guys, you know, on that flank, you know, there. And so you can see I get YOLO'd here. And I'm going to go ahead and do a manual zoom in so I can guarantee hitting him. And of course I'm going to get YOLO'd again. Now you guys keep in mind, if you guys look to my left there, sorry, to my right, you guys can see that the STB over there backing me up and making sure I didn't get YOLO'd there, otherwise I would have been dead. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Well, I probably wouldn't have been dead, but I sure wouldn't have any health, and I probably would have died at the end of this game before this, and I sure wouldn't have been as aggressive as I am right now. So knowing the speed of this vehicle, I watched him fire. I'm going to go ahead and shoot him. Now, I don't recommend it, but a lot of times people will shoot, and you guys can see that actually blocked and bounced, but I do need to get out of there, and of course I get my gun broken, which just sucks. And I pay the penalty right there by getting another shot by using auto drive, which I'm going to tell you, I've been trying not to use auto drive, and I just, you know, I need to use it. I've gotten so used to it. So, I realized that this guy, why he bounced me, was because he's not fully upgraded, so gonna go ahead and say that the accuracy of this tank, it's a brawler. It does need to be close up, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that it has an uncanny ability to make long range shots. I'm gonna say maybe even better than the Object.430. Not that it's that. I actually think that I have a really good crew in this, which I actually didn't mention to you guys. I kind of forgot telling you guys what I'm running on this. So I'm actually running vents, rammer, and coated optics. A lot of people, I'm going to say, if you guys look at the size of the reticle, that's with a broken gun, but even that huge reticle, because you can brawl with this tank, you can go up against heavies. I mean, if you can get in a side scraping position, but it's not wise. It's not wise to brawl with heavies, but if you have to, you can side scrape. Now you guys are going to go ahead and see that I'm going to go ahead and create some camouflage. So while we're looking at that, I wanted to mention the perks I have. Excuse me, getting ready for dinner here. So in this tank, I have 6th Sense, Brothers in Arms, Camouflage, Track Mechanic, Repairs, Smooth Ride Snapshot, Designated Target, Situational Awareness to give me just to give me the max view range possible. And of course, if you guys don't know this, out of all of the Russian mediums, this has the best camouflage rating, sitting in at 57 stock. That's with a 75% trained crew. Who knows? what it is when you have the camouflage perk. I would say that I probably think my next perk that I'll get from this after situational awareness would probably be fire perks, because this thing actually will get caught on fire, and it's happened to me repeatedly. And I would recommend, if you guys can afford it, to run the full med kit. Seriously, full med kit gives you a 20% boost. But if you don't have any, like me, I don't have any spares. So it's kind of funny. I kind of slide down here and I'm thinking, oh crap, you know, maybe I can get a shot and back up. And I don't know if this guy's ammo racked or what, but he has an opportunity there to spin and shoot me, and he just keeps driving. I don't know why. And I go ahead and get into a side scraping position, and it seems like he's more focused on the guy next to me there, which is really good, right? I mean, that's the way, that's what you want to have happen, and it gives me the opportunity to shoot with a huge reticle and still hit that bottom plate. I'm very lucky. I'm going to go ahead and say RNG on my side in this game for sure, which is one of the reasons I wanted to pick this game here, is to show you guys that some of the shots I make, even with this huge reticle, statistically, you're going to have these games where you can just, I mean, you'll just pin anything. And then there's games where you're going to play and you're not going to be able to pin a damn thing. And they have happened to me. I haven't run out of ammunition. You know, this thing gets 34 plus 12 plus 4. So you have definitely a variety, you know, of ammunition. I should probably add that up, huh? See, 34 plus 12 plus 4 is 50 rounds. So you get 50 rounds from this thing. Now that guy right there had a real good game. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, the guy in the Action X, he had a real good game. But, you know, he did YOLO down there without bothering to look to see where we were. Trying to YOLO that tier 8. I don't know why. I think if I was him with the gun that he has, I probably would have stood up in the probably right over there where I just marked on the map and sniped with that low on health. But he had a really good game, I'll just tell you that. He has a big game. Okay, so earlier we did see the Yagru, which is why we all went around the other way, because I mean, who wants to screw around with this thing? And you guys can see at long range I'm actually still connecting shots with a broken barrel, which I was going to go ahead and tell you guys that is exactly the kind of stuff I wanted to talk to you about, is that this tank seems to be able to shoot long range. Now, when I was using the T62, I seemed to miss every other shot, and I'm going to say that it actually has a more accurate gun than this, but I'm actually thinking that now it must have been lag, and I really do think it was lag. I think it was lag that was causing me to have trouble with the T62. But, you know, hey, looking at it now, I'm going to go ahead and say that the Object.430 and this have about the same feel to them. So you can kind of go back and forth between these two tanks. You know, and one has one more degree of gun depression, which is a huge difference. And I want to go ahead and show you. This is RNG at work. And you'll see here that this is a shot that probably shouldn't pin. Like I said, though, you can get these magic shots. If you look at where it actually went into a place right in between the track. And, of course, I see this guy, and I'm like, I'm dead. You know, and, of course, he tries to shoot the hatch. And you'll see that I actually take one off the front plate as well. No shots on him now, but I do have quite the reticle going there, huh? So I'm not spotted anymore, which is good, but I'm thinking I'm gonna, you know, come in here and get this guy. So one of the main reasons I chose this particular game is to show you guys that, you know, well, the Russian tanks, any tank, when you're playing, you're gambling. You don't know what the teams are going to be. You could get people that have never played the game and it's their first tier 10, you know, battle, to getting people that are like literally like, you know, the best in the world, and you just don't know, and it's like gambling. So you guys can see here 4,500, 6 kills, 16 penetrations, assisted 673, and blocked 1,400. Not enough to get me top of the board, though, unfortunately. I was kind of shocked about that. I was like, I got 6 kills plus 4,500. I think I should be above the T32. But, you know, 7F, there's some 7F guys all up in that room, which is probably why I was able to clean up so good. Seriously. So I have a bunch more games to show you guys here, but they're just end credits because I wanted to kind of show you guys it's not just you go out there and kill them. You can have some really bad games in this. I will say though that compared to the 140, when I get put on INSC, I do well on this compared to doing okay on INSC. So this can actually be a very effective close quarter fighter. And it has an uncanny ability to survive, and it has a very reliable gun to it. And what I mean is that sometimes it's not hitting every spot you're aiming at, but when it hits, you know, it does hit the target and does pin, and it's more reliable than I'd say the 140. And you guys can see here, this is another game. Of course, I got 6 kills in this as well. Pretty good. I thought it was a, you know, 2 games in a row I got 6 kills, just to show you guys RNG at work, right? the game I just showed you, the game we just looked at, and of course here are some other games that were, you know, I'm gonna say optional. You know, 4,800 damage, assist, and then look at the block. You know, very good numbers, top of the board. You know, very good numbers. I'm gonna go ahead and say look at the team as well. You know, very good games. Yeah, getting my mark, you know, from in 10 games, you know, today, having RNG being that good, amazing, seriously. So I think we have 2 more games. This is another game. I don't remember. I think that we're getting into the highest damage earned games. As you guys can see there, that's the game that I actually got my mark of excellence on, which was my final game. For 5,052, 18 pins blocked. You guys can see, compared to the T62, I was getting blocked only when people were using standard shells. This one, even when they're using heat, I bounce, which is very, you know, very good. People can pin the turret. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like it's unpinnable, but it's definitely a lot more trolly than the other one. Seriously. Yeah. Very fun tank to play. I'm going to say if you guys get a chance to, I'd say get the 140 and the 430 and the T62A. I'm going to say if you guys want to give it a try, maybe you guys will have better luck with it. But I'm going to go ahead and say that the 140 is a better tournament tank, but the 430 is way better in pub games and is just funner to play because of its camouflage rating. And this was my highest damage done game in this tank. Which was 5662, and of course you guys can see still blocking, you know, pretty good. Not enough to get me top of the board. I was actually shocked that that guy was did 5,000 in the T54 just because of how slow it is. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and of course, you know, if you guys want to see more content, please, you know, let me know in the comments, and of course, you know, hit that like button, and if you really enjoyed it, please subscribe. All right, thanks for watching. Later.